Hi there, I'm Alli, and I have a little bit of a craft supply problem. Not only have I filled up this entire cabinet to its maximum, I have all of these drawers, almost this entire utility closet. Can't forget the pile I keep in my living room, or basically my entire closet in my bedroom. But my personal fave might just be my kitchen cabinets. So considering all of that, I think it's about time that I do an extreme craft supplies organization video. I've already done this twice on my channel. You guys loved the last one that I did, so here is a little bit of an update to it. And I have a lot more tips and pointers and ideas to share with you guys, so I am very, very excited. So let's dive in. We're gonna start with this utility closet. This closet is super cramped, but I added this plastic shelf when I moved in, but I am definitely not maximizing the space that it has, so I want to fix that. So the first thing I did was just take everything that was on the shelf and on the floor and on top of my wash machine and brought it out of the utility closet and onto my living room floor. So I have all of the craft supplies out on the floor, and my first tip, which is always one of the main tips when organizing, is to maximize your vertical space. Now, as you saw, that closet is super tiny, and I feel like I wasn't really utilizing the space just right. So I picked up one of these shoe organizers off Amazon. I mean, of course you could get one of these anywhere, but I specifically wanted one with the clear pocket so that I could see what's inside, and a little hack that I'm about to show you in a little bit. And since the closet is dark, I figured I would just hang this up on the outside of the door to show you what I'm doing, and then of course I'll move it to the inside when it's all complete. I am going to be using this shoe organizer specifically to organize my DIY tools. So as you see here, I'm putting in my cute little purple tools, my tape measure, levels, pliers, wire cutters, utility knife, screwdrivers, all of that fun stuff first. And then I continued filling out the pockets with my must-grab tools and supplies for when I'm working on DIY projects. I love this shoe organizer method because I no longer have to dig through a container or a bin to find what I'm looking for. The pockets are clear so I can see exactly what it is. Everything has a place where it can go to store, so I don't have to be searching or wondering where it's at. Plus, since it hangs on the door, it's nice and low profile and hides away really well in this closet and doesn't take up any space. I saw a hack using a shoe organizer where if you cut the bottom of the pockets, then you create kind of like little tubes with the plastic where the shoes go, and this works really great for holding wrapping paper, or in my case, I'm going to use it to hold my craft paper, which I put down on my surface while I'm DIYing. And then I just continued to fill out the pockets with whatever I felt like needed to be in this. So I had my spackle, some more tools. I also had some various other things like command strips, some packing supplies, and just whatever I had that needed a spot. And here is how this shoe organizer turned out. I absolutely love this. It feels so much more organized, and it was a perfect addition to my craft supply organization system. Next, I'm going to use these Dollar Tree bins that I picked up a long time ago that I've been holding on to for this purpose, and I'm going to use it to organize my tools. So I started with the first one with my drill and my various drill bits, and the second one I put in my jigsaw and all of its accessories. And then in the third one, I just put in my miscellaneous tools like my staple gun and staples and my hammers. And these just fit nice and securely on this shelf, and I also had a little extra room at the end where I could put my miter saw. Now I want to actually use one of my favorite DIYs I've made that doesn't really have a place in my apartment at this time, but I decided let's give it some use because it's really, really cute. And I want to hang it up in here on the wall, and I think I'm just going to use it to hold all of my wreath forms because I really don't know what else to do with them, and them being scattered on the floor has just been terrible. since I did that hanging shoe organizer, I do have my tool bag now that's empty. This is the bag that all of my cute little purple tools came in that I love, mostly because they are on brand. And I figured this would be a good place to store all of my hardware, so like my screws, nails, hanging brackets, things like that, because I can't really figure out a super good organization system for them, and I often end up digging around and looking for them, and it's always a struggle. So that is why I decided to put everything in here. And then I put that tool bag on the shelf, and then another tool bag on top that has all of my clamps in it. Let's tackle the spray paints. I have a very large collection of these, don't I? My best tip when organizing anything is to take everything out of the container that it's in first, or out of the space or room that it's in first, and then go through it and put back exactly what you want to keep. This is just the best method to ensure that you are truly keeping everything that you need. I literally have empty spray paint cans in here. Yay. I'd show you what I did with my spray paints. Along here I have all of my different blacks with their different finishes. Then I have my cream or off-white and my stone effect. I'd also add my white spray paint, but I just ran out of that. Then I have my metallics, and then I have my primers and my finishes. So I think this is gonna work really, really well. In the other cube bin that I had, I just rearranged some of my paints and my stains, and that was just perfect for that. Then I just put my joint compound that I had left over from a previous DIY at the very back of the shelf, put in some of my paint tools in this magazine organizer, and then added those fabric bins back in. Alright, welcome to day 2. I have shorter hair and also a new manicure, and I'm ready to take on reorganizing my craft supplies, this time in my dining room. Now this is where I focused in the last time I did my reorganizing video, but this time I do have another new organizational system that I am so excited to share with you, so let me go get that real quick. It's the craft cart. I am so excited about this. I have wanted one of these forever. I finally got one. I don't know why it took me so long to do this. I know it's gonna be so helpful while filming videos to have all of my must-needed supplies organized right here. So what I want to do is take some of the things that I keep in this drawer tower and move them to the craft cart. It'll be so convenient to have them in here because when I'm filming, my lights usually block my access to my craft storage, and I also like the idea that this is portable so I can move it throughout my apartment if I decide not to craft in this space. This is the drawer that most definitely I want to move into my craft cart, and I started by filling in my pencils and other writing implements, I guess, into this little Dollar Tree container. Oh, and another useful DIY tip is to keep a rubber band in your stash because you can wrap it around lids of things that are stuck and it makes it come off way easier. I continue to organize the top of this container using these little Dollar Tree organizer bins, and these are just perfect for what I'm doing here. So I have my scissors and my craft knives, and then I also have this Dollar Tree drawer container that was during the school supplies last year, and it works perfectly for storing my hot glue. I use 2 different types of glue, regular hot glue and the Gorilla brand, just because I like having options of 2 different levels of bonding for depending on the project that I'm doing. Finally, I added my silicone hot glue mat, my E6000 glue, and a couple little hot glue tools as well. Next, I'm going to add these IKEA kitchen, I believe, containers, these little organizing containers, and these fit perfectly on the edges of this cart, just like that. And then it gives me a perfect place to stash away my hot glue guns, which, because I have 2 different types of hot glue, I also have 2 different hot glue guns. And then on the side of the cart, I'm using a Dollar Tree magnetic hook. That way I can hang up my rulers. Now this bottom section I needed to use for my paints. My paint drawer in that little drawer unit was just not cutting it anymore. And yes, I do have a ton of paints and I do probably need to start going through them, but for the time being, I just want to have them all out so I know what I have. That way I'm not buying duplicates. Also in this space, there was still room for my paint palettes, and I also added in little containers to hold my paintbrushes. Now for the bottom compartment right here, I want to keep this empty because I want to use this compartment to put some of the supplies that I need exactly for the projects that I'm going to be working on. It's a good empty space for that. But just for the time being, so it doesn't look empty in this video, I'm going to put a couple upcoming project supplies in the bottom. Since my drawers are now empty, I can go and organize them with other supplies. And yes, here is my huge collection of Mod Podge. A big thank you for Plaid for sending me all of these different Mod Podges and tools. They are amazing and so useful. I also used this small little organizer basket to store my mini Mod Podges and other types of adhesives. I couldn't quite decide what I wanted to keep in this top drawer, but since I do have a lot of different strings, be it macrame cord, twines, just string in general, I figured why not keep it here so it was all together, because where it originally was in my craft cabinet just was getting a little bit annoying, so this is working for the time being. Then for the rest of the drawers, I just gave them a little bit of a tidy because they needed some reorganization from being in use and hadn't had a good organization in probably about a year. And here is my drawer unit all organized. I have some room to grow here on the top. My glues and Mod Podges look so nice in this drawer, as well as my other miscellaneous types of DIY supplies and tools right here. And my favorite drawer, I just love the ribbon drawer because it's just so satisfying seeing all these spools of ribbon. And on the bottom, I store my tissue paper and my felt. So ignoring the fact that this is incredibly messy right now, I want to address this bin here, which has definitely been a problem as my fabric stash has grown. I want to go through this, see what I still need, see what I can donate or what probably needs to be just tossed out. And I want to reorganize it so it's not like me digging through a whole bunch of fabric to find what I need. Now I have had this set of plastic drawers forever, like since my childhood, and it has moved around with me for ages. Anyway, in the top drawer, I stored most of my craftable fabrics, the ones that I use most in my DIY videos, and those tend to be the more neutral fabrics like my canvas and also black and white. The next drawer down, I put all of my colorful fabrics. These are just ones that I might grab for a sewing project or some sort of one-off thing, but it's enough of a piece that I didn't want to get rid of it. And on the bottom, I put my holiday fabrics as well as some of my home decor and special project fabrics. Since the fabric bin was now empty, I decided that I could use that to store away the DIY supplies that I have pulled out or reserved for specific videos and projects that are coming up, which was super nice because now I no longer have to store it in that corner in my living room. Then really all I had left was giving a good tidy to the rest of this cube unit. By the way, this cabinet was a DIY, and I will be sure to link that in a card above and in the description box. This blue striped bin that you see right here is definitely the most chaotic, and I went through it, made sure to kind of reorganize, get rid of some things that I no longer needed, but clearly it was a huge mess, but it looks so much better now. And I did the same to my woodcraft bin, which desperately needed a reshuffle. And if you want to see how I organize these bins a bit more specifically, I did that in my last organizing supplies video, which is linked in the description box. Now now I'll give you a tour of my reorganized craft cabinet. Here are all of my wood crafting materials, which are way more accessible now. And I also am already loving keeping all my upcoming video supplies in a bin like this. It clears off that space in my living room. For the most part, I did keep the sections in the cabinets as they were originally, but it did feel so nice to pare down how much was shoved into this blue striped bin, as well as reorganize some of my yarns, and also this bottom shelf right here, so it's much more convenient to reach these supplies. So it's been a few days, and have I organized all of my craft supplies? No. But did I make a big dent in the craft supplies that have been cluttering up my apartment and find them homes? Yes, and it feels so good. It is such a refreshing feeling to get reorganized and get back on track, and it's making creating so much easier. That being said, I hope that this video contained a lot of good tips if you are in need of some craft supply organization as much as I was. And if you want to see how I reorganized my craft supplies last year, lots of other good ideas in that video. That is linked on the screen right here. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you are new here, and thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!